Yeah, so we will start with a land acknowledgement, and I want to maybe I want to invite Ed to give the one for UBC.
Okay. Yes, welcome everyone to UBC. Here at UBC, we're on the ancestral lands of the Musqueam people, and I feel very privileged to live and work here on these lands. It's one of the most beautiful places on the planet. I've been all over the world for work, and this place is very, very special. So that's the land acknowledgement. Would you like to?
Yeah. So I can agree on that part because in London, Ontario, it's right now a heat wave, and here it's beautiful weather and nice and just the right temperature. And the pictures you see on the screen, that's my different homes. So to the left is actually the Regnitz, which is the river that goes through my hometown in Erlangen in Germany. I have also been a lot in Stockholm. It's also a lot of water. It's very close, similar to Vancouver. And I have been in London, Ontario, which is to the right, the Thames River. They look all very similar. I like that kind of climate, not the heat wave. And one thing that is very much related to us and our topics is the vision that many indigenous people, including the Musqueam people, have on how we should treat our land. And the Musqueam people say, we will care about our elders, our young ones, and everything on our land. And that way we will be looking after the ones that come after us. And this is very similar to how a responsible corrosion scientist treats resources, because we want to have, we know that the land gives us resources. We know that it is wasteful to let it corrode or pollute the environment. So our work is very much part of the respect for the lands that many disciplines have, and including the First Nations in not only Vancouver, but also in London, Ontario, in Sweden, and everywhere else where we have been. So, you know, in the CDIS courses, we will come to that a little bit later, so I will.
Can I do a safety when you're done?
Yeah, okay. Done, yeah.
So, safety-related issues for those of you who are not from UBC. So, the fire exit is right here to the right. So, if there's a fire or whatever, come out of the room, turn right, take another right, head down the stairs. The muster point for this building, if there is a fire, is in front of the building where it says Frank Forward. There's an open area there. There's like brickwork on the ground, so that's where it is. So exit here and then come around the building to the north side of the building. That's west with the ocean. North is towards the mountains. It's always how you can remember where you are here in BC. If there's an earthquake, we have big problems in this building if there's an earthquake, but if there is, you're supposed to get under the table and hold fast. But we probably would have much bigger problems. This building was built in 1955. You're not supposed to try to run for the exits if there's an earthquake. The brick walls in this building are not stable, and nor are the stairwells. So you're more likely to be more injured trying to exit than if you're staying put.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So there you have it. That's the washrooms. Thank you, Shannon. This is again an old building. So we have women's washrooms on the 3rd floor, and men's are on the 2nd floor. So they're split that way.
And 3rd is the floor.
Yes. So 3rd floor. So women's washrooms on this.
Just down the hall, turn down and right.
And lastly, I want to thank Shannon for helping to organize all this. And if you have any logistical questions, Shannon.
I'll be floating in and out.
Did I forget anything? No. Okay, we're good. All right.
Probably.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. No, this was the wrong way. So the correct program for those of you that don't know it is an international training program. So these are all our collaborators and partners all over the world. We have 19 different countries, 23 different corrosion professors outside of Canada, and 10 inside Canada in 8 universities. And today we have a lot of universities represented here in person. I think the farthest away is the University of Prince Edward Island, right? 10-hour flight. So, yes. But we also have a lot of people online all over the world, including from India, where the time, I don't even know what it is now, but yeah, it's late, probably, or early. So, yes. So that is that, and the program consists of many different elements. We have the CSI, which is the Corrosion Science Institute, which is basically our summer school that we have now. We have different topics. So this year, where we are at UBC, we are trying to do it more UBC focused and a bit more about pipelines and more about corrosion in industry, right? So and then it rotates. The CAT, that is the corrosion awareness communication training. Originally, it was planned that we combine this with the summer school, but then it's a bad timing to have that in June because all the schools are closing. So last year we tried that. This year we spread it over the entire year, and we just let the schools come when they have time. And then okay. We have the core mentoring program. I think most of you are either mentees or mentors, and if not, you will be signing up. I think the next time will be end of August when we are signing up the next time for calls for mentors and mentees. We have done this 1 year now. We have 50 pairs of mentors and mentees all over the world, and an 80% uptake rate, which is quite high. And the mentoring program, for those that actually do it, they really love it because it helps them with a lot of opportunities, but also to just talk through challenges, right? So it's quite good. And the CSD is where we put most of our money, so that is going to you to make a mobility. So this is basically a way to go to a different lab or a different like do an internship in industry where you learn something else inside the corrosion field, but outside of your primary discipline or topic. And that is, and you're compensated for that travel and that time and all the extra things you have to do. And the CEDAs are the corrosion graduate courses that we have. So CEDA stands for Corrosion, Equity, Diversity, Environment, and Society. So we are trying to connect the dots where corrosion helps society and where corrosion maybe damages society, and also what we can do about it. So basically trying to teach us becoming responsible corrosion scientists and engineers. These are just some examples of our international collaborators that have agreed to host you if you want to go there. We have, for example, really cool countries, Italy, Colombia, Australia, Qatar, Nigeria. It's not limited to those. So if you have a favorite lab somewhere in a different country, you can go there instead. This is just the example of the CEDAS course, which includes topics like pollution, environmental impact assessment, how to do that, environmental racism. So where, for example, in the past, if someone just dumped waste somewhere that then corroded, and they put it in an environment where it damaged certain people, that is part of where corrosion actually contributes to environmental racism. And then we have we learn a bit about land, materials, and resources from an indigenous perspective, discrimination, and other equity issues, for example, gender issues, which are prevalent in the corrosion field. We have less than 10% female members in the biggest corrosion association in North America. So there is a big discrepancy that we need to address somehow. And yeah, so that is giving an overview. It is mandatory for everyone that gets money, and it is you are in the end producing a video about a case study, like for example, corrosion of nuclear waste containers, or the Silver Bridge collapse, or Flint water crisis, which kind of corrosion issues were there, and these are then published and they are citable with Google Scholar. So for the second part, this is related to the mobility you have done. So if you, for example, were in an internship in industry or in a different lab, and then you would also produce a video out of that, including the different aspects you have learned from the CDIS courses, and that's also publishable, or it is published and it's citable. So these are some examples of the videos that have been improved. They are all online via Western Library as well as on YouTube, and very well viewed. I think more than 1,000 times in total. So it is something that touches people, especially if it's prevalent cases like the Flint water crisis, for example, where they had a big, the typical thing, they disregarded corrosion, wanted to save money, then had a much bigger corrosion issue, then had a big health issue, and a lot of lawsuits. So, yes. So the mentorship program, I mentioned that short before, but there are, it's documented in research that you actually get better career opportunities and paths. You are more likely to maintain your career path if you have a mentor. You widen your horizon, you might get your next job via the mentorship, and learn soft skills. So it's really important. There are also workshops online for different topics that are related to general career in that mentorship program. So the next will be end of August. And we are trying to get you different mentors every year. So if you already have a mentor, you are welcome to maintain the relationship, but also to get a new one, right? So that's important because we want you to have as big as possible network. These are some examples of the outreach communication we have been doing. This was an online campaign on the Corrosion Awareness Day. Who knows when that is? It's a global one.
I didn't know there was such a thing.
Oh. It was a big thing in Europe when, like 10 years ago, but now this year it was really exploded because AMPP was also amplifying it. 24th of April, remember that. So next 24th of April, I hope everyone is doing this. So this is one of the things we are trying to tell normal people where corrosion matters. Nickel allergy is a good example, everyone knows that, and it's because of corrosion of alloys that contain nickel, and of course only the corroding ones will release the nickel, so stainless steel is usually safe even if it has a lot of nickel. But yeah, so this here goes through some of the typical metal allergies, how common they are, and why they are connected to corrosion. And we got a lot of engagement with this kind of thing. Another thing that we did was kitchen. Like everyone knows, no, everyone should know that you should not put ferritic stainless steel knives in a dishwasher because it contains salt, the dishwasher, and the ferritic stainless steel is corroding much worse than austenitic. So, or it's actually martensitic, it's even worse, so because it needs to be hard, the knife. So that is one of the things that people might have noticed, that it's hard to keep knives corrosion-free, and it's because they do the wrong thing. They should always hand wash it or avoid the salt in the dishwasher. Another example is a pot of not so good stainless steel. Let's not name anything like Swedish IKEA. So you would put the salt in the water for the pasta, and if you put it in when the water is still cold, you get pitting corrosion in the bottom. But if you put it in when the water is hot, it dissolves fast and you get a lower concentration, so you don't get pitting corrosion. So these are like things you can change daily to save your materials. The same for the aluminium foil, which is you should not put any acidic or alkaline food, like because that would release toxic aluminium ions, especially the alkaline ones are really toxic. Yeah, and that's knowledge that would help everyone, right? That it would so that we got a lot of engagement with that. This is some of the activities we did. You see Emily here. She made the conductive dough, one with salt, one with sugar. Only the one with salt is actually leading the LED to light up, right? Because it's conductive. You have lemon batteries. We do a pencil, very simple pencil. Pencil experiment where we just have two pencils with graphite, a 9-volt battery, and then you get bubbles if you have it in salt water. Actually, it's hydrochloric acid. It's not hydrogen because the hydrochloric acid potential is lower than the hydrogen, so it starts first. And if you put it in pure water, the bubbles are much less or not existing because there's no ionic conductivity. So that's some of the experiments you can do for all kinds of ages. And you have probably in your own universities, you have science rendezvous or outreach activities or day of the open day, or I don't know. And you could do some simple thing like this, send me the picture and I can report it. So, but also if you need anything, we have a lot of comic books and we can send stuff to you or ideas on what to do. And this is the wrong way again. This was in a school. There we added some trivia as well. They loved it. They got some prizes. This was a high school. They came. You cannot imagine how simple. We made a competition on how to pipette water. So who would come closest to 1 gram? And they were so in it, especially the guys. They would like really fight to get it to 1 gram. So it was very, it's quite simple. Everyone can do it, and they love it, and maybe they choose science or engineering later, right? So it's a simple thing. This was a science rendezvous. It rained all the day. So we do have some educational and gender research as well in that program. And the reason is that we need more corrosion scientists and engineers in total. So we are trying to make it more inclusive because we cannot continue to have like 90% men in AMPP. If we get more from diverse groups, we will get more in total. And we want to change the field so we attract more, but also retain more. So the important next day, I mentioned several times, end of August is the next time we open for the core mentor application in January 2025. We will have, so not in September this year, but in January 2025, you can apply for a mobility. And I get a lot of questions for that always. So this is where the big money is. So your supervisor will get money for you to travel and to be compensated for your time. So that means your supervisor doesn't have to pay you as much from your research project and can also maybe buy you out from TA duties or anything else, so you have more time. And we allow people moving between universities in Canada, between different countries. This is what we prefer, but also between different sectors. So it's impossible if you, for example, live in Vancouver, it's impossible to move somewhere. Also, that would be easy because everywhere else is cheaper. But let's say you don't want to lose your apartment or whatever, you can also apply for mobilities in different sectors or to industry in the same town. And you can even change that.
So a student at UBC could apply for mobility to a company in Vancouver?
Yes. Yes. So we call that intersectoral mobility. And you could even do interdisciplinary. So if you, let's say maybe materials engineering is too close, but or corrosion, but if you want to, for example, you have a project with education or with medicine, that would also be allowed.
Okay. And then what about undergraduate students? Like, let's say you're an undergraduate student and you've already graduated, but you're still an employee at the university.
Like a research assistant then? Or?
Yeah. I asked them, is there a couple of people who fit that bill?
If it would help them to continue to a next degree, maybe yes. Yeah. We can. NSERC does not want to pay anyone with like not a student in,
right.
But undergraduate students, graduate students, or postdoctoral students or postdocs are all eligible. The postdocs cannot get much; they can only get $3,000 for example, organizing a workshop or making an outreach or teaching. The undergraduates can get up to $13,500 for a summer project, and the big PhD can get up to $27,500. So it's really think about it and communicate with your mentors, with the different professors, with me, whatever helps to think to make a good project. We really love projects that widen your horizons. It is proven that if you are doing an experience, mobility experience, you get up to $8,000 on average, $8,000 more 3 years after you graduated by your employer. The reason is that your employability increases so much if you have this extra experience. So, and this is for everyone. And especially, we want especially to encourage underrepresented groups because they are less likely to apply, but they are more likely to win because they already have disadvantages. So for example, if you think about that study that looked at how much more you make after you have an experience, mobility experience, the white male would make 8,000 more, the minority, a visible minority would make like 7,500 more, the female would make normally like 8,000 less if they would not have done mobility, but they make only 4,000 less if they would have made mobility. So this is the wage gap we have in Canada right now. It also exists in engineering and science. And so we see that if we are targeting this effort to people that normally already have a wage gap, then they are more helped. So keep that in mind. It really helps your future. Okay. Yes. We also encourage all kinds of outreach. Also, if you do that anyway, let me know, right? And we can help. And also for those that are graduating before December 2025 and still need some CDIS courses, please let me know because I will be officially on sabbatical this coming year. But I will still, so I'm not allowed to teach, but I will still teach only external Western people. So not Western, I'm not allowed to teach Western. So I will do an online only CDIS run for everyone external, but only the ones that really have to in this fall. So email me and I set you up for that. We make some nice videos. Okay, and the next summer school is at Western. In June 2025, and the one after is in Calgary in June 2026, then at Western again, and then McGill. Okay? Good. That's it. And now we do the good in time, right? Yeah. I think we have several possible. Mohammed will introduce us to the bingo here in person. And we make like this for the online people. Shay will lead the networking, and I will switch off the watch the chat from time to time in case there is anything. But it is like after this there will be lunch, so the online people can just log out after the networking activity, and I